Imagine that at this very moment, there are thousands of people around the world who have never felt truly heard. People who speak but are not listened to, who express themselves but are not understood, who scream in silence within conversations that seem like disguised monologues. Think about it. How many times have you tried to share something important and felt like your words simply evaporated into thin air? How many times have you had the feeling that even surrounded by people, you were completely alone with your deepest thoughts? There exists a subtle, almost invisible truth that imprisons millions of people in the silence of their own battles, the lack of connection with what truly strengthens the soul. This trap is not an external problem, nor an enemy we can see with our eyes. It's an internal void, silent and deep. Today, here on Daily Prayer, we're going to reveal how to break through this barrier and how to make space for a lighter life filled with peace and true hope. We're going to discover that there is someone who always listens to you, even when it seems like the whole world has turned its back. And pay attention. What you're going to hear until the end may transform the way you face your days, because the most powerful revelation will come last. Welcome to Daily Prayer, a place of authentic prayer and daily inspiration, created especially so you never walk alone on your journey. Here your voice matters. Here you are heard. If this video reached you today, perhaps it's not a coincidence. Subscribe to the Daily Prayer channel, leave your like, comment your experience, and share with someone who also needs to feel heard. Because what we're going to explore can touch the heart of those who need it most. I'm going to make an intimate confession to you. There were moments in my life when I felt completely invisible. I was physically present, but it was as if my essence didn't exist for anyone. I spoke, but my words seemed to find no echo. I smiled, but inside I screamed to be seen, understood, welcomed. It was during one of these phases that I discovered something revolutionary. There is a way to be heard that doesn't depend on external ears. There is a sacred space where every word of yours, every sigh, every hidden tear finds complete embrace. I'm not talking about empty consolation. I'm talking about a real, tangible presence that inhabits a place you know but may have forgotten to visit. The deep silence within yourself. You know what the tragedy of our time is? That we learn to seek validation only in the ears of others. We conditioned our worth to the attention we receive. We measure our importance by likes, comments, the responses we get. And when that doesn't come, we conclude we don't deserve to be heard. But what if I told you that you're looking in the wrong place? What if the deepest, most transformative, most healing listening that exists didn't come from outside, but from within? What if you discovered that there is someone who never stopped listening to you, not for a single second? Let me tell you about Carla, a woman I met years ago. She had spent decades trying to be heard by her children, her husband, her friends. She spoke louder, repeated the same things, fought for attention, until she realized that the more she screamed outside, the less she heard herself inside. It was then that Carla discovered something that changed everything, the art of listening to herself first. Instead of desperately seeking others' attention, she began to offer herself the listening she so needed. And something magical happened. When she stopped begging for attention, people naturally began to listen to her more. But how does this happen? How do you learn to listen to yourself when you've spent your whole life seeking external validation? I'm going to teach you right now. First, you need to understand that within you exists a presence that never stopped paying attention to everything you experience. Every joy, every pain, every fear, every dream. This presence doesn't judge, doesn't interrupt, doesn't give unsolicited advice. It simply witnesses, embraces, and understands. Sit comfortably now. Take 3 deep breaths. Close your eyes and imagine you're in a completely silent place. Not empty silence, but silence full of presence. A silence that listens to you. Now, instead of speaking outward, speak inward. Tell this internal presence something you needed someone to hear today. It could be a concern, a fear, gratitude, a dream. Speak slowly, as if each word were precious. Did you notice something within you received your words, embraced them, didn't judge or reject them, simply heard them with complete love. This is the listening you always had available, but perhaps forgot to access. Now I'm going to teach you a powerful prayer for moments when you feel unheard. Repeat with me, slowly. I deserve to be heard. My voice has value. There is a presence in me that never abandons me. Breathe deeply. Feel how these words echo within your chest, how they find a home in the silence of your heart. You didn't need anyone else to validate these truths. They are true because you recognize them as such. You know what the difference is between being heard by others and truly listening to yourself. When others hear you, you receive attention. When you listen to yourself, you receive understanding. Attention is external and temporary. Understanding is internal and permanent. That's why so many people feel empty, even when they're being heard. Because they're seeking from the outside what can only be found from within. The deep recognition of your own worth, your own dignity, your own importance. Let me ask you a question that can change everything. When was the last time you sat in silence and really listened to what your soul was trying to tell you? When was the last time you offered yourself the same quality of attention you so desire to receive from others? The truth is that most of us spent so much time chasing external listening that we forgot to cultivate internal listening. We became so busy trying to impress, convince, and captivate others that we lost touch with our own inner voice. But that voice is always there. It never stops speaking to you. It whispers in the pauses between your thoughts. It echoes in the quiet of dawn. It vibrates in the depth of your chest when you stop to breathe. It's the part of you that always knew who you really are, even when the whole world seemed not to notice. I'm going to tell you what happened to Carla after she learned to listen to herself. She began to reserve 10 minutes every day to simply sit in silence and ask herself, how are you? What do you need today? What do you want to tell me? At first, she only found anxiety and mental noise, but gradually a softer voice began to emerge. A voice that knew her true needs, her true dreams, her true fears. A voice that loved her unconditionally. 3 months later, Carla told me something I never forgot. I discovered that the person I most needed to listen to me had always been here. It was myself. And now that I learned to listen to myself, other people also began to truly listen to me. This happens because when you listen to yourself first, you stop speaking from scarcity and begin speaking from abundance. You stop screaming for attention and begin radiating presence. You stop begging for validation and begin offering authenticity. Now I'm going to reveal the 3 deep secrets about how to cultivate this sacred listening that transforms everything. First secret, your soul speaks through your feelings, not just your thoughts. That strange sensation in your chest, that tightness in your throat, that inexplicable restlessness, all of this are ways your essence is trying to communicate something important. When you learn to listen to your emotional body, you discover a language older than words. Second secret, silence is not empty. It's full of presence. When you sit in quietude and stop filling the space with mental noise, something extraordinary happens. You begin to perceive that you were never alone. There exists a constant companionship, a loving presence that always witnessed your journey. Third secret, you don't need to prove you deserve to be heard. You already deserve it just for existing. Your worth doesn't depend on the quality of your words, the importance of your problems, or others' approval. You deserve to be heard because you are a unique and irreplaceable expression of life, trying to know itself through you. Let me teach you now a daily ritual that will transform your relationship with silence and with your own inner voice. Every morning before starting your day, reserve 5 minutes for this sacred meeting with yourself. Sit in silence, breathe deeply, and ask this simple question. How are you, my heart? Don't force an answer. Simply listen. Pay attention to what arises. A sensation, an image, a word, a sigh. Everything is valid. Everything is precious information from your soul trying to communicate. Then ask, what do you need from me today? And again, just listen. Maybe the answer is patience, maybe it's courage, maybe it's rest, or maybe it's simply presence. And lastly, whisper to yourself, I hear you, I see you, you matter, and feel how these words find a home in the silence of your heart. This simple ritual will do something revolutionary. It will teach you that you are simultaneously the one who speaks and the one who listens, the one who asks and the one who answers, the one who seeks and the one who finds. It will reconnect you with the completeness that always dwelled within you. You know why this ritual works? Because it breaks the cycle of emotional dependency. When you offer yourself the listening you need, you stop demanding from others what they often can't give. And paradoxically, this frees them to listen to you more authentically. I'm going to tell you about Marco, a man who constantly felt ignored at home and at work. He discovered this ritual and began practicing it religiously. In the first month, he noticed he was much less reactive when people didn't listen to him. In the second month, he noticed he spoke less, but with more clarity. In the third month, something extraordinary happened. People began seeking him out for deep conversations. It's not that they changed, Marco explained to me. It's that I stopped speaking from hunger for attention and began speaking from the fullness of presence. And people feel this difference. This is the magic of listening to yourself first. You stop being someone who consumes attention and become someone who offers presence. You stop being an emotional beggar and become a giver of peace. You stop screaming in the desert and become a fountain in the desert. Now I'm going to reveal the deepest truth of all, the revelation I promised from the beginning that can completely transform your relationship with silence, with your voice, and with your own existence. The revelation is this: you were never alone because you were never separated from the presence that hears you. What you call loneliness is actually an invitation to an intimate encounter with the most sacred part of yourself. What you call not being heard is actually an opportunity to discover the deepest listening that exists. Within you dwells a presence that knows every beat of your heart, every breath of your soul, every tear you cried in silence. This presence is not external to you. It is you in your purest, most essential, truest form. When you sit in silence and listen to yourself, you're not talking alone. You're conversing with the deepest dimension of your own existence. You're reconnecting with the part of you that always knew who you really are, even when the whole world seemed not to notice. I'm going to teach you now the most powerful prayer for moments when you feel completely unheard. It's a prayer that will instantly reconnect you with this internal presence that never abandoned you. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, place a hand on your heart and whisper, "I hear myself. I see myself. I love myself exactly as I am. I'm worthy of being heard because I exist." Feel how these words echo in the silence of your chest, how they find a home in the sacred space within you. Notice that you don't need anyone else to validate these truths. They are true because you recognize them as such. This is the final liberation, discovering that the listening you always sought outside was already available within, that the love you wanted to receive from others you can offer to yourself, that the validation you so desired you can give to your own soul. This doesn't mean you no longer need human connection. It means you won't seek in others what can only be found in you. And when you stop begging for attention, people naturally begin to offer you presence. Let me tell you one last story about a woman named Sophia who spent her whole life feeling invisible. Until she discovered this truth, she wasn't invisible. She was simply looking in the wrong places to find herself. When Sophia learned to listen to herself first, something magical happened. She stopped speaking to impress and began speaking to express herself. She stopped seeking approval and began offering authenticity. And people, sensing this change, naturally began to approach. "I discovered," Sophia told me, "that when you become your own best company, people want to be part of that company too." If you watched until here and this message touched your heart, write in the comments, "I deserve to be heard." And share this video with someone who also needs to remember that their voice has value, even when it seems like no one is listening. Remember, every time you sit in silence and listen to yourself with love, you're contributing to a world where it's safe to be authentic, where it's permitted to be vulnerable, where every voice matters because every existence is sacred. If this video reached you at the exact moment you needed it, Subscribe to Daily Prayer, leave your like, and activate the bell to receive daily messages of reconnection and presence. We'll see each other in the next video, where we'll continue this journey back home, back within yourself. The ritual ends here, but the presence continues. You deserve to be heard. Your voice has value. And there is someone within you who never stopped paying attention to every word you whisper in the silence of your heart. Just for existing,